Well, hey, we are back.
Back once again. It's Tuesday.
It's 2 p.m.
It's Minot Talk.
Now it's Thursdays too. Thursday at 8.
At 8, we're doing a whole thing.
a.m.
8 a.m.
in the morning.
Yeah, we're not here at night.
Leif Snyder said that's too early for him. That's kind of the gist I was catching, isn't that about right?
At least was I think the intended words behind it.
Yeah, we love you, Leif. We
Thanks for coming on again last week, Leif. We once again always had some fun audio issues, but next time, fourth time's the charm. Guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, if we have audio issues today, let us know.
Yeah, please. We're using a new system.
We are, and I think it's better. Like
so far, I think we look nice.
Basically, here's the test. If my video feed looks better than Kyler's, then
it's working.
The things that we're doing are making progress.
Heck yes.
And we'll make sure that eventually Kyler's looks as good as my video feed, I guess. I mean,
I think there's some natural things we can only work so much with, but
that's not really what we're getting at, but yes. So first off, to anybody that's tuning in, thanks for joining us today.
Yes,
we're
thank you for watching.
To have you. And
make sure you comment if you want to.
Make sure you comment if you have questions. We have exciting stuff going on.
We
so
do. A lot
before we jump into everything that we're going to talk about today, and we got a lot of cool things we're going to talk about. For one, we're going to call out the Rob Port.
The legend himself.
So that'll be a good time.
Yep.
We'll see if that's actually interesting.
Going to talk about the governor debates that have happened over the last week here.
Going to talk about the governor debates, which is interesting stuff going on there. So we'll see how that goes. And then we're going to talk about a debate. We're having a live virtual town hall tonight.
Yep.
So that'll be fun to talk about. Minot Public School finally got a budget approved. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but we will mention that too.
We'll go over the numbers for sure.
A lot of great things. But we got some new podcasts shot, and those are always good to go over. So one of them is a podcast that we have shot coming out this week. We're going to start seeing some of our Ward County Commission interviews.
Excellent.
We have one with Miranda Schuler completed. We have one with Jedediah Rader completed. We also have scheduled some with some of the other candidates. So those will start coming out this week.
Hey.
So people can make informed decisions when they vote for their county commissioner.
Get to know the candidates a little bit better.
Now, if obviously early voting is already in play, so before you vote, make sure you listen to those. We'll have those out this week. So just delay voting a week, okay? If you would.
It's for the best, we promise.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. Also have a podcast that'll be coming out. Rob Fuller has a podcast. Let's talk about it, Minot. So make sure you engage with that. If there's questions that you have about the city of Minot, if you're curious what's going on with this issue or is whatever your questions are, leave them in the comments when those are posted, and they will actually end up in a future podcast episode.
Hey, really?
So
he does look at the comments then.
Yeah, I think he does. So make sure you engage with that stuff. Pretty interesting for sure.
Without a doubt.
Tonight we kind of mentioned it, but tonight we have a virtual town hall. Obviously, we kind of addressed the dynamics of everything last Thursday.
Went over that.
If you have questions of why it's happening, you can go watch that episode back. But pretty excited about this virtual town hall tonight. We'll be joined by the Democratic candidates in District 38 and 40, Lisa Hermosillo and Alexandra Doifel, respectively, and should be some good conversation. If you want to watch that live and ask questions of them, it's a virtual town hall. We want your questions. Yeah. That's part of the point of why we're doing this.
The more input, the better.
Yeah, we have some good questions that we're going to ask. Probably some standard stuff that you would anticipate will be talked about. But that is going to be going on. Actually, I think we have a graphic that kind of. Yeah, there we go. There it is.
7
Virtual
p.m.
town
tonight.
Hall, 2 p.m. Yeah, 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Guess what today is?
Is it Tuesday, October 15th?
Well, you're not wrong. It's also tax day.
Oh, you're right. You are right.
So only people that are behind on taxes know about that.
Yeah, it's the extension. Me. Oh, you're part of the extension?
I'm part of the extension group.
It happens.
Yep, it happens. Happened to me.
So where do you want to start today?
All right, let's start with the
school board.
Let's start with how you're doing. You doing all right?
I'm okay. I'm not too bad today.
We have a special segment today. Are you ready for it?
The hot take segment. Yeah, we're going to test something new. That's exciting. Be ready keep watching. Well, that'll be towards the end, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I wore, it felt like fall, so I wore something a little bit more
I like it, man.
fall feeling. Yeah, I went with the big old vest.
Felt like another day, so I had to go with the suit.
The suit is classic on Jonathan. I don't know what
we need to get some other clothes going, but it's where I'm at in life. So
yeah, it's fine. It's fun.
All right, today we're gonna start out with the Minot Public School budget recap. Yeah. So
met last Thursday.
They met last Thursday. We're anticipating this like drag out meeting where things get discussed and things get taken care of, and in about 10 minutes they had the budget taken care
10,
of.
15 minutes max.
Then they had Brady Martz talk about their audit.
Yeah, which went fine.
Yeah,
nothing really exciting to report from that. They had a construction report for how the new school is doing on North Hill. Lasted, again, good 20 minutes. And there's just updates. Progress is still happening. But that big thing was the budget that got passed.
It got approved. And what's big about it is that, once again, they approved a budget in deficit.
Yep, a little over $3 million deficit.
It's becoming a habit over there at the Minot Public Schools.
Last few years especially. But Scott Lauser made some interesting points.
He did. What did he say, Kyler? What did he say?
He said something along the lines of he understands the deficit has to go this year. But this has become a habitual thing for the school board. And he's going to vote for it this time. But with that, he is putting out there that, hey, he doesn't expect the deficit spending to go on for very much longer.
So what was really interesting about that meeting was when the agenda item of the budget got brought up, it was nobody wanted to put forth the motion to approve it.
Just dead silence.
It was dead for like not just like 5 seconds. It was for like it felt like 60 seconds. I didn't actually check how long.
Just
it was a while.
Silence for a minute there.
And finally, the motion got forth and it got seconded and it got approved and nobody opposed it. It's just, I think right there you could have the feeling of either it was a really long day for everybody or they're not happy with the direction that the budget's going year over year. And they realize something has to change.
And they obviously don't want to have to end up taking anything away from teachers. But I know Scott Lauser said that, hey, you have that biannual kind of negotiations that you have to take care of with the teachers. That's coming next year. Since we're running in a deficit, he wants to make sure that everyone is as prepared as they can be for that to try to mitigate that deficit as much as possible.
Makes sense. It's something that definitely needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So be interesting to see what progresses there.
Yeah. They're settled now though, so they can take a deep breath and start working on
another
next year's budget.
Do you think, you the viewer, do you think, or how not do you think, because I think we can all agree that the budget being in deficit is not a good thing, but how long is it sustainable?
That's
would you have liked to see more action taken even this year, even if that meant cuts to teachers in order to make that happen? And I'm not saying that I'm a proponent of cuts to teachers,
but
just saying like that's the largest part of their budget.
Yeah, that's the vast majority of it is salaries and benefits, and it's just one of those things. You got to figure it out from somewhere, and I don't think anybody wants teachers to be paid less. I mean, it's an industry that we need as strong of support in as it can get, but at the same time, we can't continuously spending in deficit either. So
yeah, very interesting. I was thankful for Lauser's statement there at the end. We'll see what happens. Obviously, he gets to go to Bismarck now and work on the school budget in a different way with things that can happen. And that's an interesting
dynamic going there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know that I'm a fan of it overall. I know he's not the only one. He can tell you the examples of others that have done it. Yeah. And even when Alderwoman Lisa Olson was running for representatives in District 38, the House of Representatives in District 38, there was some intrigue over that of whether or not a sitting city council person should be also serving in Bismarck. In some ways, you would just kind of like to see those things separated.
Without a doubt, especially on the nonpartisan aspect compared to the party line.
The nonpartisan, and you like, I mean, obviously a representative is going to be representing their district, but they're also representing the school, then they're representing their district, and they're also representing North Dakota. Like there has to be a hierarchy of how they prioritize things. If something is good for the school, Minot Public Schools, but is not good for North Dakota or for the district, how do they
separate that? Yeah.
Right.
Not saying a person can't separate that, but I think you have to be able to if you're going to try to tackle a job like that.
You have to, and there has to be, you would think, a hierarchy of order that you're working through.
And how you prioritize what you're going to get done and when you're going to get it done.
Right.
Yeah.
And then no matter what, at the end, it's going to say that you were conflicted. No matter what. It don't matter what you do, however, unless if you recuse yourself from it.
People will always be able to sling that and say that you have conflicting interests at that point. So you can just hope that the person is able to mitigate it to the best of their ability.
Definitely something interesting there.
And we're going to watch it play out in Bismarck next spring.
We are. We are going to watch it play out. So that'll be a good time.
Without a doubt.
Why not public school?
Hey.
They had their grand opening.
They did. The ribbon cutting happened.
Yeah.
That was
Senator
last Wednesday, I think, or Thursday.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Senator Hoeven was there. Was Kramer there?
I believe so.
Governor candidates were there for sure.
Yep. I was going to say no. Armstrong was.
Yeah.
Yep. Was Burgum there? I didn't see him in the picture. I think actually, I think he was like in Israel last week or something.
Good for the guy.
Trying to beef up those foreign affairs chops for post election
for a potential run in a cabinet.
Oh, it's what he's looking for. I mean,
how do you feel about that?
At this point, it is what it is. Asked me 6 months ago, I was probably a little more upset. But at this point, I can't fault him, especially since he dropped out of the governor's race.
Yeah. He did drop out of that. That was probably a good thing.
Had he stayed running for that and was still as in deep as he is, I think I might have had a little more issue with it. But 4 months from now, he won't be the governor, and he'll be.
How long will Armstrong be governor if he's elected?
8 years.
Okay, it's just 2 terms.
That he would be subject to the term limits. Governorship is included in that, is it not? At 2 terms?
Well, you stumped me because I didn't think it was. I thought it was just for legislature.
I thought it wasn't. Burgum was grandfathered in. That's why he wasn't able to.
That makes no sense. Why he'd be grandfathered in?
I'll have to
because nobody else was grandfathered in.
Not in the legislature. So by all means, you make a good point. We'll have to confirm that. We'll work on doing that here.
Yeah.
But
get your Google.
Regardless,
ready.
yeah. Aside from that, we got off a little bit there.
But no, actually, I was going to the governor debates.
Oh, fair. He was segueing.
Yeah,
he was planning.
I was going somewhere.
I love this. Jonathan was planning this out. He is
so there was a couple of governor debates. Now, one, we give our sympathies. We send our sympathies down to Bismarck to Beck TV.
And we understand.
We understand what you went through Beck TV last night.
There was
where your production for the governor debate, a live deal, ran into some audio difficulties.
Yeah,
we've been there.
We understand. But yeah, the first 15, 20 minutes of the debate was a little.
I don't think it ever got great though. There was always a lot of background noise.
Yeah,
they were running their mics hot.
Yeah, you could at least for the first 10 minutes, you couldn't make out one of the 2 moderators or Congressman Armstrong at all. I mean, it's
crazy.
But at least after the first commercial break, they got it fixed, and it was by all means serviceable at that point.
Gotcha.
And that was last night. And then prior to that, last Wednesday or Thursday, there was also a debate hosted by Prairie Public with the legendary Dave Thompson.
Sponsored by AARP.
AARP, you betcha.
It's a classic.
It is. I've listened to that as long as I can remember, at least since like 2010.
Go AARP. So that, buddy.
Uh-oh.
You're frozen.
Am I? Oh, no.
You are frozen.
Uh-oh. You're not.
So I think what happened was we started talking about technical difficulties.
And we just jinxed it, didn't we?
And we jinxed it.
Well,
so
we just keep rolling, see if it plays back in.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep rolling.
Well, of course. So, do you just want me to start yapping about the governor's debates while you try to figure it out, or?
All right, so we are going to fix this technical difficulty. We're sorry about that. Again, we jinxed ourselves. Do in the back. So we're working on fixing that. But nonetheless, there were a couple of governor debates that happened, and it was a very interesting deal as Coachman. You had Coachman, you had Armstrong, and you had Piepkorn and Merrill. And what was interesting about it was to see Coachman in his approach in those debates. And I if you have time, listen to these debates, because you had Coachman, who's the independent, probably has no chance of getting elected. And he went very, very strong at just creating conversation. And what happened was he was derailing the conversation that the moderator wanted. The moderator would be like wanting to go a certain direction, and he would derail those conversations. I thought that was pretty interesting.
That was, yeah.
His strategy there.
He wanted to take over, at least in some aspects, and he did, at least gave it a good shot, especially, I mean, both debates, frankly, he tried that. The first one, he took a shot at Congressman Armstrong over some oil field issues. Congressman Armstrong, if you're not familiar, obviously had a lot to do in the background. Growing up, his family was associated with the oil field a lot. That's what he grew up, he's an attorney, of course, but a lot of who he represented was oil field industries back in the early parts of his career. And so going forward off of that, Michael Coachman was able to at least attempt to attack him. Congressman Armstrong shut it down, and especially in that first debate, in both debates, they were going. In the second debate, Armstrong said, "I don't even think you know what you're talking about when it comes to the issue," kind of thing. But Coachman kept going at him about it, and it was a fun dynamic. Yeah,
definitely interesting. Who do you think won?
Ooh, that's a good question. The first one, I think Coachman certainly had the most interesting of them. In the second one, I don't think anyone did very bad. I don't think Coachman did as good in the second.
You didn't hear what they said for half of it, though.
I mean, for sure. I don't think Coachman did as great in the second one compared to the first one. Piepkorn was very...
A tactic like that only works once, basically.
Yeah, that's the thing. And especially also, too, the first debate being a hair under an hour long compared to the second debate being almost 2 hours. I mean, so in the second debate, you have to have a lot more long form kind of.
Yeah, 2 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
2 hours is a long time. So in that debate, Piepkorn, though, he also jumped on. So Armstrong in the first one, he jumped on Armstrong. It was like, all right, the moderator Thompson had to finally open it up to everybody because Coachman derailed.
Yeah, he was just rolling.
He's like, all right, what do you have anything to say on this?
Poor Dave Thompson.
And Piepkorn was like, no, I don't. But, and then he just jumps on Armstrong, and Armstrong's like, that's not true either.
Yeah.
But then when somebody has to say that's not true, it makes, like, the person couldn't have been completely lying, right? They didn't just
completely pull it out of their, you know, I mean,
they had to have
some basis
to do it. So it really makes you question, like, all right, what's actually going on here? Is Armstrong telling the truth or not?
And for the second one, I think it was a little more interesting. They got a little more in depth on it too. Coachman was attacking Armstrong over the potential of him having some kind of they were talking about mineral rights under the ground for a lot of areas in the oil field. And Coachman was trying to attack Armstrong on the possibility of him having rights to some of the land or the businesses.
Okay.
And Coachman just took it to the point where, hey, do you have any business dealings in there? I don't think that's the question, and Armstrong says, no, I don't have any mineral rights in that area. And Coachman tried to push it and said that wasn't the question. And obviously it just moved on after that. But I thought that was an interesting little segue, a little kind of
definitely interesting
deflection
back and forth that went on there. So, all right, interesting debate there. What I want you to do is you get to break down why you are excited about tonight's Democratic town hall.
I'll try my best. You get to listen to me yap here for a second. It's going to be interesting. We have two different candidates coming in. Obviously, District 38, District 40. We have Alexander Doifel and Lisa Hermosillo. I look forward to both of them having at least some sort of a chance to get in front of the camera, go over town hall. I really want some people at home to get a chance to have a say over what's going on. If you could definitely give us some comments, have some suggestions for questions to ask, we would love to hear.